The White Lotus Season 3 is out in full on Max, 8 episodes, around an hour each, with the exception of the 90-minute finale, which is the longest episode in the entire series thus far. This season continues the tradition of being a kind of anthology comedy drama about a bunch of vacationers in a luxury resort. And this time the resort is on Koh Samui in Thailand. The cast for this season includes Walton Goggins, Leslie Bibb, Carrie Coon, Jason Isaacs, Michelle Monaghan, Parker Posey, Amy Lou Wood, Patrick Schwarzenegger, with Natasha Rothwell and John Grease returning from season 1. I'm not going to go into plot details, as the show remains definitely more character driven than plot driven anyway. What you need to know, it's still a couple of groups of rich folks on vacation, which starts wonderful and then unravels over the course of the week as various problems and tensions boil over and explode. Definitely not a show for everyone. I think it has a very specific vibe. For myself personally, I didn't get into it initially. It took me about 4 episodes of the first season before it really clicked for me, and I realized, oh, okay, that's what they're going for. But I can see some people still getting bored by watching obnoxious assholes being obnoxious assholes, and that's fine. For me, what I enjoy about The White Lotus generally boils down to 3 things. 1, it's kind of pleasant to watch beautiful people in beautiful locations in beautiful clothes. It is a bit like a commercial for the resorts and the places they visit, but hey, it works on me. 2, it's kind of entertaining to watch these rich bozos get in trouble and have their worlds collapse, at least to some extent. And 3, it's generally pretty funny. It's a pretty funny show in terms of the dialogue, characters, and situations. And season 3 to me is more of the same. I liked the bulk of the season, probably most of all 3, because I thought the characters this time around were all entertaining, funny, cool to follow. There wasn't really a single character where I thought when the storyline switched to them, I would think, oh, I'd rather watch somebody else. The ending, though, was probably the weakest of all 3 seasons, definitely not as good as the rest of the season. It felt a little flat to me, especially considering they built up this whole hype of the longest episode, only to end it on an average note. But again, since this is a character and not plot-driven show, I was able to enjoy the journey even if the destination wasn't so great. As usual, the performances are splendid. Couple of standouts this season. Jason Isaacs is brilliant, and on the surface it looks like a simple performance, but he goes through a lot of different emotions and states over the course of the season, and he is consistently believable. Parker Posey's accent from minute 1 is deliberately grating like nails on chalkboard, but then every line out of her mouth is pure comedy gold. Great unlikable character to follow. Similarly, Patrick Schwarzenegger, who plays her son, great at playing slimy, pompous assholes. I loved Amy Lou Wood. I think her character is super sweet and likable and fun. And finally, Sam Rockwell, who shows up midway through the season and basically steals the entire show with a great monologue. I was sad he wasn't given more to do afterwards, but hey, I'll take what I can get. Final point about the music. The show has been known for its crazy score, especially the main theme, which had 2 different variations through the previous seasons. And this season has a new completely different theme. And initially I was disappointed, like most people online, because it doesn't contain the famous this sort of sound in the theme. But it quickly grew on me, and I think that by now I like it the most out of all 3. It has a great vibe. And then right before the season ended, the composer Cristobal Tapia de Vir came out saying he's leaving the show and won't score future seasons because of creative differences with showrunner Mike White. Apparently, White has been difficult to work with in terms of the music. He wanted something more traditional for the show instead of the unique score that we got. And Cristobal had to fight to get each piece of the music into the show. And I think that was a fight worth fighting, because to me, this type of score is one of the most recognizable things about the show. It's the thing that makes the White Lotus the White Lotus. So then the season 3 theme was actually longer, and after this amazing build-up, it did morph into the old theme by the end with the glorious oh sounds. But either White or the people at Max said the opening can't be this long. They have to make it in shorter time, and they cut the song before it gets to that point. So all these fan complaints about music have just been a result of the studio cutting the music short. The good news is Cristobal released the full version on YouTube, which I will link in the description. You can check it out, and trust me, it's worth it. But obviously the bad news is there remains a question whether the future seasons of The White Lotus retain the same atmosphere with a different composer and presumably different music. We'll live and see. For now, season 3 is basically more of the same. If you liked the show before, you'll like it now. If you didn't, it's not really different enough from the previous seasons to convince you otherwise.